Vivian Moreno, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, homelessness is a big issue for your district. Some residents of Logan Heights had organized against a storage facility to allow some homeless folks to keep their belongings there. Having seen that project sort of play out a little bit, do you think that it's been a success? Do you think that some people's fears have been realized? And what else should the city be doing to combat homelessness?
Well, my understanding is that 50 to 80% of the homeless population currently have mental health issues. The homeless situation in the city of San Diego is a responsibility of everybody, not just residents of District 8. I feel that District 8 has received a lot of the burden of alleviating this situation. And to be honest, I think that the situation should be dealt with at a regional level.
Closely linked to the problem of homelessness is the cost of housing, and most experts agree that housing is very expensive in San Diego, in part because there's just a lot of it. Where do you think that the city should be building more housing, and should more of it be going into District 8?
I think that the future of housing for all the city of San Diego is along the transit-oriented districts. For our community, I think it's commercial. Commercial is the prime example of where we should be putting housing. As San Diegans, I think we need to also change our thinking of what a house is. I don't think a house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, a quarter acre. I think we need to start looking at condos and apartments and townhomes. And I think transit-oriented districts are perfect places to put housing.
Barrio Logan has been stuck with a very outdated community plan since voters overturned an update of that community plan in 2014. What work do you think has to be done in order to get an update approved to that community's plan, growth plan, and one that will actually stick?
Well, I think, I've worked with Councilmember David Alvarez for the past 8 years, and we were the first to establish a community planning group in Barrio Logan. I mean, that to me is just, it's wonderful that we did that, but having waited so long to establish a planning group is, I think it was detrimental to the community. So I was part of that effort of, working with Councilmember Alvarez in his office and having the planning group come to fruition. And I think that there's a lot of work still to be done.
You've said that recruiting and retaining police officers is one of your top priorities. The police department has been struggling with a shortage of officers for quite some time. What, if anything, should the city be doing differently to fix this problem?
Well, I think that one of the things that we can be doing is looking within our community. I think that our police officers should come from within our community, and also a lot more. We have a great community relations officer in the South Bay. It's one of the top priorities that I've heard when I've been knocking on doors. Is they want to see more police officers. They want more patrolling. And so we need to go and find these individuals, these men and women from within our community to come and serve.
The man that you would potentially be replacing on the city council, David Alvarez, your boss, is often the lone dissenting voice on the city council. What would your style of leadership be in terms of relations and working with the mayor and the other city council members?
Well, I think that, there are a lot of similarities with Councilmember Alvarez and myself. We're both very hard workers, and we're very family oriented. And I think the difference is I think I want to have, more coffees with my colleagues. Right away I contacted the mayor's staff and I asked for coffee, just to, get to know each other a little bit better, especially as a staffer. You don't really get a lot of opportunity to chat with some of the chief of staffs and, the executives. So I asked for that opportunity, and that opportunity was provided to me, thankfully, and we had a wonderful discussion. And we're not going to always meet eye to eye, but I think the door is always going to be open, and I intend to work alongside them. We can't do it, without the mayor and the rest of the council, so I'm looking forward to working with them.
What do you think is the most important distinction between you and your opponent in this race?
It's like night and day. My opponent has served on the San Ysidro School Board. one of the most corrupt school boards in the whole state of California. The grand jury just disclosed its findings, and it basically said that the reason why the superintendent was able to do a lot of shenanigans in the district was because of the lack of fiduciary knowledge that the board had. That to me is really concerning. For me, I would put my record at City Hall next to my opponent's any day of the week. We have actually, we just broke ground on the San Ysidro Library. The actual library is from 1923. It was a 100-year-old library. My grandpa was born in 1933, so that's a really old library, probably the oldest actually in the library system. So we also opened up a brand new park, that's Cesar Solis Park, first park in 30 years. We've resurfaced hundreds of streets, but there's still a lot to be done, right? We still have, I'm thinking of Southwest Park in Otay Mesa Nestor. I'm thinking of 28th Street over in Grant Hill needs to be resurfaced.
Vivian Moreno, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.